Hello and welcome to Be Powerful with Liz and Lee. It's a new day and we're so glad you're here.
So you can expect to hear candid conversations on what it means to be powerful. Live authentically, live in the midst of ups and downs, productively, and above all else, joyfully.
We are so thankful for you, our community of listeners, and we hope you enjoy today's show. All right, everybody. Hello and hello, Superbab.
Hi, hotness. Good gosh.
Hey.
We look so good. We almost didn't do this on film. As a matter of fact, we're going to tell y'all, don't go to YouTube today. Just listen to us. We don't look that good, right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've looked worse.
Speak for myself.
I'm sure I've looked worse. No, it's fine. They'll all go now that we've made a deal. Let's watch this train wreck. Some days you just feel like that, and that's okay. But that's why we've got to use positive affirmations like Superbab and hotness in order to feel better from the inside out.
Pollyanna, this is why I love you. Okay.
Well, I started to go to therapy as you requested, and so I'm working on it.
That's the greatest subject, and we didn't know we were going to talk about it, but let's just touch on it.
Okay.
So, can we just back it up? Backing it up. So I've gone to 6, 7 therapists throughout my lifetime. That may be an example. I can name 4. So let's just say I've gone to 4 and possibly 5 or 6.
Okay.
So I feel like I graduated with a PhD from therapy like a few years ago because there's just so much psychoanalytical stuff you can do to yourself. And then you just need to go in and do this shit yourself. So when we have when we have issues of your low self-esteem, I'm like, look, could we just fix this? Should we just get it done? And so we have a stipulation now. We have an agreement. You're going to get therapy, and I'm going to quit riding your back about it.
There you go. We'll see the second part. I'm holding up my side of the deal.
Tell us about your first session.
Okay, so I'm doing a BetterHelp.com.
Okay, well, wait a minute.
Virtual.
We shouldn't tell them that.
Why?
Because okay, go ahead. All right, throw these people under the bus.
No,
let's hear it.
It's not under the bus. It was an experience. I'm going to talk about it. I don't have anything like.
And also, we have a friend who's doing it, and she said it took her about 2 or 3 times to find the right person. So
that's
this
the
is
same
a good thing
in real time FaceTime versus virtual or on the phone. So yes, it is important that you take the time to find a therapist that works for you. And how would you say, Liz, since you're a know-it-all?
I'm not a know-it-all.
Sassy.
I am sassy.
How does one know they're with the right therapist?
Here's a real clue. I'll never forget Aubrey and I sitting in the office of this guy, and he is just like, he's shaking all around. And we're like, hell, we thought we were in trouble. We're like, the battling Bigsby's, like having this hard marriage time during our marriage. And the guy was such a nervous wreck that Aubrey and I started laughing out loud in therapy. And so then we just had to get through it. And at the end of therapy, we went out and that was the best therapy we ever had, was having a bad therapist that didn't know what he was doing. And then we got to laugh about it and loosen up about our own issues.
I like that.
Isn't that good?
So that's one way to go.
Yeah.
That's one route. Did you stick with him?
No, we got out of that as fast as possible. We moved on to some ultra lesbianic, I'm super serious and you all need to do these things. And, people that are therapists have done a lot of self-reflection, right? They've also gone to school. Generally, they're very serious people.
Right.
And I get to say lesbianic now. I couldn't
for you to
say
finish.
that before.
And
I get to say it now because it's fun. And I think it's a fun adjective because it describes her. You can see her.
Okay.
Dark hair with a little salt
that
and pepper.
we need to circle back to is the battling Bixby's. Could you give us some context for the young ones in the room? What you mean? Who?
It was just a term that my ex-husband and I used to have for ourselves.
Were the Bixby's like a show?
No, I don't think so. Maybe
you just made it up. It wasn't like
I think we
cartoon.
made it up. No, we had to. When you're in pain, one thing.
Humor.
This is the reason I was married so long. We had humor. We thought, wow, things are going south here. We got to lighten this up a little bit.
Right.
We called ourselves the Battling Bixby's.
So that was just a made up term. It was not some show that we missed.
And I could be wrong.
I'm going to look it up later.
We'll have to look it up later. I don't recall it being a show that I ever watched, but that's not necessarily the case.
That's funny.
Do you think I look like Ken on Barbie and Ken today with this furry thing around
a little bit? If you put a bandana around your head, you would. You definitely
That would improve my look.
Right.
I am Knuff. Let's go ahead. Keep going.
And that's our affirmation of today, everybody. When you're feeling too busted to go on YouTube, just say that you're Knuff.
Or
and you'll be
when
fine.
you feel like, you're not worthy enough, you just say, I am Knuff.
I am Knuff. Let's go back to what made a good therapist for you. You don't have to share, the ins and outs of your own couples therapy or your individual, but, more about the connection with you and a therapist. How do you know?
When they bring out the stuff that feels like they're bringing a load of rocks out of your gut and you can barely handle it and you can barely breathe. A good therapist can really get deep and down into you, and they can help. Here's what my guideline would be. I don't want to just regurgitate my problems, but once I regurgitate these problems, I want a good therapist that says, here's what we're going to do with these things.
Right.
We're not just going to let them be out here and hurt and continue. Feel the hurt, walk through the hurt, be the hurt, all those things. But also here's some guidelines. Here's some ways to help you work through it. I just happen to be in couples therapy a lot, but I went through my own personal therapy as well. And my better therapists were people that gave me skills, not things like, well, you just need to meditate more. No. But here's a skill you can practice, So, I feel like I'm definitely a better person from the amount of therapy I did, but I'm kind of done. I'm over it. I don't need any more.
Right.
You might disagree with that.
No, I'm good. I consider you a therapist in many ways. I do think you have the self-confidence and the self-awareness and the wisdom of experience, et cetera, to kind of not care so much about a lot of the BS that we tend to waste time on.
Right.
And no, I'm just laughing at you.
I'm getting hot.
I know. Therapy. Let's break it down.
Oh my God. It's getting hot in here. I'm going to take my fur off. Okay, go ahead.
No. Okay. So my question is with that, do you feel like you've written the story of your life that's real? In other words, sometimes the story of our life is what we think we experienced or what we wanted to experience, our perception of our experience. And is there a point when you're like, all the BS can kind of go away, and what is the actual real story?
I think I have done as real as I can get, but realize this, you are always looking through your own perspective glasses. I am always looking at my issues, your issues, the world's issues through my vision. And to know that, and to know that you're looking at it through your own set of thoughts and all that is helpful. Now, am I more authentic than I was before? 100% more authentic. That doesn't mean that I don't look at things with those, I don't want to say rose-colored glasses, but a perception coming from me. But my perception now is we are all worthy enough for attention, for to be listened to be respected. And so what I have gleaned from all the therapy about myself is that I'm no different from everyone else, and they're no different from me. We're just, some of us are more aware of who we are. And the more aware of who we are, the more loving and caring and good and kind we can be to other people, no matter where they walk in life. So for instance, the problems I would have in a marriage with my ex-husband, those wouldn't happen as much anymore because I don't have this huge mountain of expectations of anybody anymore. I don't even have it for myself. I have desires and goals, and I really want things to happen, but I don't have this, Liz, you better do it like this and you better get it done now. I mean, when I do find myself doing that, which I recently did, because I'm trying to write this goddamn book, which I don't know if I'll ever do it. It's driving me crazy. I have this thing, but anyway, when I go, you should be, I'm going to go, you know what? You're going to go outside and do something else. You're going to go plant like I did yesterday.
Sure. Well, and just a side note on that, and then we'll go back is, I think that's like anything else when we have a goal or a plan or something we want to accomplish, and then we can't or haven't found the right maybe process for how to do it, right? It's kind of giving yourself the grace and the fluidity to go outside and take the break, and not let something that in essence is a passion project be such a negative experience, or one that constantly causes you grief. So my recommendation is to try another way.
Thanks, Lee, because you're exactly right.
I know.
As a matter of fact, if there's a publicist or somebody that can help me with this, could you just call me? Like, I'll give you my phone number.
Like an editor.
Yeah, like an editor. Like just something. Anyway, enough
a publisher,
about,
not
enough
a
about
publicist.
me and writing and all those sort of things. Because I am, to me, a release that I've learned, and I learned it through therapy.
Hello, oh my goodness.
Hello. Was writing in my journal. And so I really enjoy, and it's a release for me to write, which hence I've been writing these articles for these little, not little, but some really national, big international publications that are being, out there. And I'm really proud of that.
You should be.
But that help started with really going inside and not only finding the confidence of who I am, but when you unlock that confidence or that person that is you can create and you can do things you didn't know you could do. Yeah. I have an itch on my nose.
I know this. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Nothing's coming out. Like, it's okay.
Thank God.
Okay, wait. I want to go back because you said something about, once you understand your story and your perception of yourself, I feel like I am really aware of who I am, my personality traits, what holds me back, what takes me forward. I feel like I have a good understanding of myself. But to your point about finding a good therapist that helps you find the skills to help undo any of the bad habits is the wrong word, but the habits that you've collected over the years that don't allow you to live
I would actually
fully expanded.
I would change the word from habit to reactions.
Yep.
Because one thing you're working on is bravery. You said it to me, being brave enough to confront a fear of confrontation. Right. My guess is that 90% of our audience has the same, has a version of a fear of confrontation, and the bravery that it goes and the courage it takes to do that. A good therapist will show you how already sure of yourself you are, and then give you the skills. Like, here's how you do it.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
And some of my experience has been like, okay, we've named that goal. How are you going to know when you accomplish that goal, or what are you going to do? And that's where I'm like, well, fuck you, tell me. I don't know, right? Like that's all fine and good for me I realized in my one and only this go round first therapy session that a lot of that is just talking out yourself to another person. It could probably be at the wall at some point, and you hear yourself and you go, yeah.
Well, it's your first session too. Nobody, you don't even know where the meat is, much less are you in the meat of anything.
No, I think we accomplished a lot. I mean, it was kind of going, oh, I know this is, we have to check boxes A through Z about your habits and all this. And I just want to get to it. Don't laugh, because a lot of people, it's like when a stranger meets you, they have to know your background.
That's true.
What they're dealing with.
That's true.
Any, everything about you. So you do have to go through the rigmarole to get to it. But we did kind of flesh out 3 goals.
Right.
And so
are we going to share that or not?
Sure. A little bit about a taste of, can I even remember? It went really well.
Goal setting 101.
Self-confidence for sure. We can talk about that a lot if you want. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
2, how confrontation, martyrdom, delegation play into my life in my career and job, and how I am as just a person and a leader and a coworker, and how all that unfolds and how to manage that. And then, it's interesting when you said working on bravery and confrontation, it makes me laugh in one hand because I'm with you. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
I got divorced. I'm with a woman who's my boss, who's older, all that. So that is a lot of bravery.
Real brave.
And on the other hand, it's coming to a place where at least for the role modeling for my children is the thing I care about most, like how that relationship is presented and carried and how the rest of our family sees that.
Right.
And so that's just another small aspect, big aspect.
I think you got a lot accomplished.
See, 3 goals.
Very first session, you've got 3 goals.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'd say you got a pretty good therapist. Let's go.
And then she was like, well, one thing that could help is exercise. And I was like,
oh, wow. Okay.
No, she laughed because, that was kind of like a what you tell everybody. And she was like, oh, I think you have that covered.
Yeah.
She's like, you could probably teach me a thing or 2, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the self-confidence, it was just interesting when you go back to the beginning of who I am and how that becomes a thing that's an issue or not.
Yeah. And self-confidence, it's a muscle
for you.
Are you?
Well, okay,
no,
false.
That's not true. That's super false. My self-confidence.
See, that's all the stories we tell ourselves in the show.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to write down. I mean, my self-confidence went from 0 to 100, but it took 60 years. So it was not in a flash of a day. It wasn't even over 20 years. It's been over 60 years. Now that I'm 70, I'm feeling pretty damn confident about my self-confidence. But I mean, I thought I had it bagged when I was in my 30s, not so much. In my 40s, not so much. And it comes along in stages. So my advice to anybody with self-confidence issues is to give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace on that, but keep doing the thing that is hard to do. Don't fall back into, I'll just keep doing this thing for my husband or for my wife that he or she wants me to do just because it's comfortable, but my ears are blowing out steam every time I do it.
Right.
Because I don't have the self-confidence enough to just address the issue. I mean, that could just save so many relationships, and the success of a relationship, by the way, is not if you make it or not. It's if you are honest with each other and wish the best for each other and stay together makes sense for everybody else being happy. And so if we can get past I just want everybody to get along and go along, and what would happen to children and daddies and mamas and all those people that really fucking don't matter when it comes to you, even though your children and everybody matter, you matter first, or you don't give them anything. Your kids are going to get nothing from you but a bunch of lies.
Doormat syndrome.
Worse than doormat, lies. It's not easy.
Right.
If it was easy, anybody could do it. If it was easy, we'd have a whole bunch of great marriages and not over 50% divorce rate in this country.
So do you think self-confidence is the main indicator of divorce? That's where that explanation's going.
Yes, not confident. It's what is it called when I'm going self-person? I am...
assuredness.
Yeah. Being
self-aware.
Let's just go with confidence. Let's go with self-confidence in your feelings. Like if I have self-confidence in how I feel, even though those feelings could be incorrect. I mean, feelings aren't facts. First of all, they're never facts. Right. They're feelings. So that doesn't mean they're based on fact. That doesn't mean they're based on anything except I feel this. When you have the confidence in a relationship where you can say, maybe this makes no sense to you, but I am feeling hurt, or I'm feeling taken advantage of, or I'm feeling like you don't care about me, like I wish you would, those sort of feelings that we all have, then that just opens the door. And if you can say it in a way that is not pointing the finger at your partner and saying it's your fault.
No, they teach you
and that's
statements.
Yeah. And that is a good therapist. And that's one of the this is why people always go, gosh, you and your ex-husband get along so well. Why not? We had a rocky marriage, but we always had a really solid relationship.
Right.
I think that's for real.
And what I hear you saying is, courage and self-confidence come hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because we get a lack of self-confidence for all those feelings that we don't stand up for.
Right.
So you have to have the courage to speak your feelings. I mean, I know for sure that I have a greater sense of self-confidence in my relationship with you for a number of reasons. I mean, one, I think we're free to be ourselves and say how we feel.
Yeah.
And I don't feel scared to tell you how I feel because you're going to react or judge me. You hear it. Now, you might have advice or you might disagree or whatnot, but I feel free to be in my feelings. And secondly, it's that thing, everybody's seen it. Is it right? Is it kind? Is it true about what we say to or about other people? But if you flip that to yourself too, like the self-talk I have in my head, well, just sit it out. Is that right? Is that real? Is that kind thoughts? Are those true thoughts? And I've heard something where it's like, if you can just be with your feelings, no matter what they are, for something like 90 seconds, they will kind of pass. If you allow it. I don't know.
Or they can pass unless they are something that really needs to be addressed, right?
Of course. Or something, just like being with the feeling versus shutting it away.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the confidence to say that what I'm feeling counts. If I'm feeling, it may be the silliest feeling in the world, but it counts. And so I wish I had learned this a long time ago, but some of the, the things I'll say to you or you'll say to me, I'll go, that makes no sense logically, but it does because the person you care about feels it. So therefore it is 100% not only okay, but it is legit. So that's what you're going to get in therapy, or you can just keep talking
to you. I mean, I guess I want to break down too, what is a healthy self-confidence? Like if you understand what it is you're trying to achieve, then it can be much easier to recognize where you fall on the spectrum. I mean, if you said, what is a healthy self-confidence? We've pretty much said it as far as being able to speak your feelings. But are there any other tips you have, Dr. Liz?
Yeah, self-confidence is
what is it?
Well, I mean, it's an assuredness that you don't know everything, and assuredness that the more you know, the less you know. And that confidence comes from not having to have the answers.
Right.
The confidence comes from, I am a worthy divine human being, just like everybody else on the whole planet, no matter who they are. That's the self-confidence.
Yeah.
That is the kindness. It's kindness and self-confidence and self-assuredness and all of those things. To me, I wish I knew all the words there were. There was more words I want to put with all that self-assuredness, because it's a kindness, it's a light, it's a spirit that just resonates. If something in you resonates, is true, you feel it. And so that self-confidence comes from, if I feel it, I'm just going to walk into that. I'm walking through the door.
Yeah.
And that door half the time you don't know what's behind that door. And that's self-confidence.
Right.
Like, I can handle what's on the other side of this. I'm not sure if I make this statement to my husband or to my wife or to my friend, I'm not sure what's on the other side of that statement for him or her to hear. But I'm going to say it with kindness, assuredness, and love, without defensiveness and without pointing the finger.
Incredible.
Yeah.
No, that's so good too, because we don't want to mistake self-confidence for ego or a lack of self-awareness or, a hyper, indulgent version of ourselves.
Right. And by the way,
thin line.
Yeah, I think there's I think we need to have like a warning system here, because the more self-assured you get, sometimes your ego, because mine has done this, will come in and go, wow, you're really cool. Now you get it. You never get it. Your ego likes to think you get it,
Yeah.
But an ego can be very helpful too. I mean, the ego can help me to get to things like, well, remember, you already know this. Look at what you've done. Let's get to that next stage, because if I feel like I'm a couple people, several people, but the ego and my higher self, and then there's the ego down here, they can work really well together.
Right.
If you really train your ego. And you have to do that with your higher self.
Right.
Which is the divinity in all of us.
Well, and I think that's a beautiful part to come from, that we are not better than other people when we're self-confident. We're not taller, more beautiful, more anything on the outside, right?
All that cocky
that's
stuff,
not the confidence.
That cocky.
Which is hard for me, because I know that a big part of my self-confidence is physicality. So it's interesting. And that's the important part of the work is to let that part go and let that internal self-confidence, which we are speaking about, be the leader.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Can I just talk about ego for a minute? When it really really hit me.
Okay.
About all the loud mouth, you watch how strong I am.
Patriarchy.
I'm not going to use the word patriarchy. I'm done with that because you get really irritated when I talk about it.
No, I don't.
But the loudness of the I will rule, that self-confidence is misguided self-confidence. It's misguided in that it's weakness. That people that decide that they are better than other people and that they must tell other people what to be because those other people don't have the divine right to decide who they are. Those people are the weakest people on the planet. And you either want to avoid them or you want to let all that boisterous, I can't say that one today, go over you and around you. Never let it go through you. And so anyway, I had to go there.
No, that's so important.
That's also self-confidence, but that's ego self-confidence, which is weakness.
Right.
100% weakness.
Not at all courageous.
Not one bit, ever. So that's kind of a universal rule, I believe.
Absolutely. And you said it coming from a place of love and understanding that we all don't have to be on the same page, but coming from that place garners self-confidence versus power over the be powerful you, right? That message is that internal coming from light and love versus coming from I've got to be more powerful and more confident than everybody else in the room.
From owning where you are in your own space, allowing it, having grace to yourself is it's called empowerment of yourself and for others, as opposed to power over, which is having power on top and telling others what they need and should and be and this and that and the other. And that is hot air that is very destructive, and it is doing a lot of destruction right now. So we all need to be more self-assured, self-confident, so we can recognize it and avoid it or change that energy every chance we get.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. That's what we're going to do. So aren't we glad we're in therapy? You're in therapy.
Yeah. So what are your 3 goals?
3 goals. I've got all my goal is to.
Are you a perfect, patient?
No. I keep changing a lot. I mean, now that I'm 70, I like, I'm like, I have. You can't help but have these certain visuals.
Oh, do tell.
Then I decided last week that I was going to stay home 3 mornings a week and write my book, because now that I'm 70 and I'm like able to do this. Well, that was a really stupid idea because I am a physical human being and I have to work my ass off and physically like work out in order to release my stuff, Anyway, so I had a little, my ego, my 7-year-old sort of thought of process of how this would be done kind of got in my way.
You learned.
You asked me about goals. That was a goal. And now I'm going to just say, you know what? I'm going to let that goal not necessarily be like a hard clad goal. Like, who the hell gives a shit about what I've got to say anyway? Right. So, I mean, if I'm going to.
We hope a few people.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
So, my goal is to continue to evolve and not to be a dumbass.
Great goals. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
No, we can better articulate that. Maybe you need to be better about allowing yourself to get in a flow state of creativity and know that you start from movement, and that's where your creativity
exactly flows. No, I was really kidding around about that.
Yeah, but truly, you're like, oh, my bottom hurts. I
can't sit because I hate to sit.
I'm like, well, you don't have to like never come in the studio now. Just like come work out, hang out, and then do your writing when you can.
Right, I am.
A little structure.
And I get it done. I finally get it done.
Good.
So, my goals are just to be healthy and to continue to be evolve.
Right.
Because I'm only just on, if here's the top, I'm like down here. We all just kind of working our way, slowly up there. So I got a lot to do and to feel and to see and to know and to be kind to and to be excited about.
I love that. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
That was fun. Didn't know we'd have a therapy sesh.
We didn't even know what we were going to do today. No. We're just hoping nobody goes on the film and watches.
We look fine.
No, we don't. I'm looking in the thing. I can see myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look pretty good.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Let's end with how we started.
Okay. Yes. How do we start?
I love you, Superbab.
Oh, yeah. And would I call you Hot Stuff?
Yeah.
Hot Stuff. All right, Hot Stuff. I love you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you next time. Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.